Children, come.
Oh, what is it, Granny?
Oh, no. In fact, my old friends and I have been putting up...
A gift? For Paimon?
Oh, child, you are so very modest. When you traversed my old teapot in search of the cleansing bell, I heard your little... That simply won't do. Fortunately, I have not yet grown so old as to see my... Oh, did my friends never mention that to you? Well then, I will not go into too much detail, but subspace creation. The teapot that you entered previously was a little trinket created...
So, in the eyes of an adeptus, creating a magic...
Oh, indeed, the teapot is nothing to boast of. One such as myself must depart from this realm to create a... but that's enough nostalgia for now. The gift that I have prepared for you...
That's right! Finding stuff's what we're good at, after all.
Oh, settle down now, children. There's no need for you to go run. What's more, I doubt that you would know how to find the material. Well, for starters... I require some shimmer soil from the banks of Dihua Marsh. You would have to dig downward, following the roots of the glazed lilies. But almost no one has been able to find shimmer soil in this manner since Dihua. Even more difficult to find is smaragdus jadeite, which must be chiseled from the rock of the chasm. So, in any case, smaragdus jadeite is an adepti treasure. And the adeptal power within is not something that most humans can withstand. Goodness knows if that child will succeed in finding...
Well, since you're an adeptus, Granny, the person you...
Yes.
She counts? How come there are so many adepti in Liyue Harbor? We seem to bump into them...
Oh, maybe so. Who can say?
I'm back, Granny. Oh, I don't believe we've met.
Allow me to do the honors. This child here is Yanfei. I believe you've already heard of the travel.
Of course, who hasn't? Much has been written about you in the Millilith's records. You became one of Liyue's most wanted after the Millilith marked you as a suspect following the incident at the Rite of Dissension. Before finally defeating an ancient god together with Granny and her associates, and subsequently being cleared of any and all suspicion by the Chiseng. A shame that we didn't meet sooner. If we had, well, I can't say that I would have been able to clear you of suspicion immediately. Allow me to introduce myself once more. I'm Yanfei, a legal advisor. Oh, yes, here's my business card. You'll find it has my contact details, and if you have an urgent issue, just leave me a note at this address. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, I offer a very generous...
All right, Yanfei, all right. Let's get to the business at hand. You'll have to excuse Yanfei. She's always been like this, ever the talkative one.
Paimon was gonna ask the same question. You seem really different from...
An adeptus? I guess, kinda. My old man said he was one anyway. He mentioned that he once campaigned with Rex Lapis for a long old time, and then they had me, and once I was all grown up, the two of them upped and left on a journey, leaving me with...
Well, that's a bit casual for an Adeptus. Aren't you guys supposed to sign solemn contracts to protect Leo at heart?
Well, my dad did say that he'd talked it through with Rex Lapis, and that he was fine with... Anyway, let's not dwell on that too much. So, Granny, I've gotten a hold of most of the stuff you asked. The chasm's been sealed off, and there's just no way in. Couldn't secure any documentation either. Looks like the...
Is that so? Yanfei, are you sure you can't find some other way? They have...
I know, Granny, you've told me 1,000 times already. Well, the chasm's definitely in... Hold on a moment.
Whoa, that's a really thick book.
Commercial consultancy. Or... Crossel. A Snezhnayan merchant who once came to me with some legal queries on certain articles in the legal codices. If my memory serves, he mentioned that he was considering acquiring some Smaragdus jadeite to make hairpins, and wanted to know if there were any legal ramifications. So, I guess I'll go look for him. With any luck, he'll have gotten his... Oh, you want to join me? I suppose that's no problem, but it's best if you just stand by and watch.
Wow, an Adeptus imploring us to avoid... Best we be a little more careful than you...
I should open a store here.
Hello, Mr. Crossel. How's business?
Oh, good, very good. All thanks to your advice, Miss Yanfei.
You're too kind. I was simply doing my job. Now, I believe that the last time we met, you meant...
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, in the end I did acquire... Miss Yanfei, might I presume that you have an interest in the hairpins? I must apologize, I've already rented...
Wait, isn't Smaragdus jadeite really rare? Aren't you worried about the hairpins
No, I'm not worried in the slightest, because I signed a contract with Miss J. The contract makes it quite clear that if she loses or damages the item in question, in return, I included a clause that guarantees the Smaragdus jadeite is genuine, with a penalty of 10 times the item's...
Guaranteed genuine, with 10 times the value payable if this claim is shown to be false?
Of course. This way, both the client and I have the assurance we need to ensure...
In that case, might you know where Miss Chow lives? We'd like to pay her a visit and have...
Oh, of course. She wrote her address down when we signed our contract.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Crossel. We'll be off.
I should open a store here.
I'm bored. Want to see some action?
Whatever shall I do? Yes, that's me. Is there something I can help you with?
How do you do, Monsieur Chow? We understand from Mr. Crossel that you recently... My associates and I are very interested in them.
The hairpins. I don't know how it could have happened. I always kept them right by my... I spent so much money on them. If I have to pay their original value... My family is in the ore business too, but business has been suffering. We now have a backlog of paid-up orders just sitting around, so we've been having to purchase some... A big banquet is coming up in a few days, and several ore merchants I know of will be there. I need this opportunity. That's what the hairpins were for, to... Well, to keep up, but now that I've lost the hairpins...
Why does Paimon have a sudden strong sense of déjà vu?
Would you really? I sent a commission to the Adventurers Guild, but I haven't...
Hold on. don't run off looking for the hairpins just yet. Miss Chow,
Huh? Well, I mean, sure, I have it right here.
let me see.
That's right! Yanfei said she's a legal advisor, didn't she? Maybe she... True. Though surely there must be a win-win...
Right, I finished reading the contract. The terms are very clear, and they do indeed stipulate that you must pay. Furthermore, the contract also expressly states that the amount of compensation must, and given the rarity of Smaragdus Jadeite, I fear that the final amount of compensation.
Even higher. Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Jucho looks like she's about to...
However, all of this is assuming that it is indeed genuine Smaragdus.
Did you really have to pause before saying that part? Anyway, the hairpins are lost, so whichever way you look at it, we've got to start by finding...
Except that if we found the hairpins, there'd no longer be any need to check.
See?
Please. Please, Don't trouble yourselves over this. However much it is, I will have to pay it. My family are merchants, after all. Now that it's come to this, I really shouldn't keep Crossel in the dark any longer.
Yes, legally speaking, it seems this is the most sensible course of action. But before that, I have... So hold on a moment, Mr. Chow. When you first touched the hairpin...
What did I feel? Well, I remember that the gemstones... My family has seen much jade pass through its hands in the past, so...
Smooth to the touch. No, it's nothing. I just need to re-examine a few things.
Why'd they have to give me that transfer?
You can't beat the atmosphere here and leave it.
Ah, Miss Yanfei, you've returned. With Miss Jiqiao in tow, too.
About...
You lost them? Are you serious?
I'm sorry. Truly I am.
Mora! Do you have any idea what I had to go... I just don't... Forget it. Talking won't bring them back. Since Miss Yanfei...
No problem. But before I can give an official estimate, I'll need to do a little market research. Ah, yes. It was in fact genuine Smaragdus Jadeite inlaid into the hair...
Of course! Genuine article guaranteed, or I...
All right, understood. I'll conduct some market research, and once I'm back, I'll provide an official assessment of the sum owed by...
Thank you very much. How could she lose my hairpins?
Looks like I'll have to find some way to raise that money.
Please wait, Mr. Chow. I have something to discuss with you. It's not convenient to speak here, so let's find somewhere that we can sit and talk.
Miss Yanfei, what is this about? Are you...
No. What I wanted to talk about is, there is a chance that the ore inlaid on those hairpins may not...
What do you mean? Are you implying...
Obviously not. I'm no adventurer, let alone a member of the guild. I don't run thankless, time-consuming errands for... I don't know if Granny told you this, but Smaragdus Jadeite is found deep underground, and can... If mere mortals come into contact with it, well, they'll be sick in the best case. And in the worst case, they could even experience a dramatic change. Mr. Chow, did you at any time feel unwell while the hair...
No, not at all. I felt perfectly fine the whole time.
Now that is strange. I know if I have deduced correctly, he may still have the Smaragdus Jadeite and...
If that's the case, we should go confront him right now and expose...
Absolutely not. If we were to confront him now, there's no way he would admit to it. and then he'd throw the Smaragdus Jadeite into the sea the moment. After that, he would simply insist that Mr. Chow pay up per the contract. Meanwhile, we would have to look under every stone in Liyue, hoping and praying that the hairpins do actually.
So vivid that Paimon thinks it might be
Oh, it certainly is. I've seen my fair share of situations like this, and brute force methods are certain.
Well then, since you're so experienced in.
Oh, that won't be a problem. But first, Mr. Chow,
Huh? Does there have to be a contract for everything? Paimon feels like Yanfei is even more concerned with them than a certain sum.
these are my formal terms of engagement. Everything prior to now has just been pro bono advice. But for me to investigate any further, any work commissioned but not bound by a contract cannot be relied upon.
I understand. Then I will be glad to place this matter into your capable hands.
No problem. Just sign here, and I'll sign too. Okay. And I'll also need your signatures on pages 5, 7, and on the very last page.
This contract has so many pages.
All right, that should do it. My fees are the same as always, and they're written in the contract. Have a look through.
I've had a read through. Everything.
Well then, here's your copy of the contract. I will retain the other copy. Not for now, no. Despite how intractable this problem might sound, I don't believe you have been part of an investigation like this before, in which...
Miss Yunfei, I have to ask.
Because, as it happens, I'm currently trying to acquire some Smaragdus Jadeite myself. I noticed strong traces of geo-energy. Whether he actually made it into an item of jewelry or not is a separate matter. But either way, it's a lead. Also, the idea of someone abusing the law to their advantage. But again, let's not dwell on this. Let's go to... I've got it. Let's pay a visit to Chateau, the boss of the Jade Mystery. He's a If Mr. Crossell had his ore worked on at all, Chateau would undoubtedly have been his first choice.
Tell you how it is.
Why, hello there, honored customers. Well, surely not more spurious claim.
No, nothing of the sort. Has a Snezhnayan merchant named Crossell enlisted your ore press?
A Snezhnayan merchant named... I do remember that. That was the first time I'd ever encountered it, so I had no way of telling if it was really Smaragdus. He was quite generous with his money, too, so I didn't give it too much thought.
Do you have...
Why, yes. It was my first time encountering this ore, after all, so...
Thank you, sir. We'll take a look at them.
If my eyes don't deceive me, the cross-sections and patternings yes, it's not particularly rare, nor is it I've heard it said that Smaragdus nephrite is in fact the outer layer of Smaragdus jadeite, though...
A thin layer of separation, huh?
If you must see for yourself, try examining these shavings for traces of elemental energy. Smaragdus nephrite is an...
Is that so? Well, we might as well... So, did you find anything? So they really are different. But wait, how come Jichao...
There's nothing special to it. It just so happens that I've come across a great many of these, and these two stones actually look very similar. Someone without a deep understanding of them would find it... There may be only a subtle difference for the casual viewer, but that translates to an astronomical difference in terms of them. And, I'm sure, a significant difference in the cost.
All right, let's focus up. We're going off on a tangent.
But, never mind, Shirto. Why would Mr.
Unusual actions have unusual reasons behind them. Let's take some of...
Miss Yanfei?
If you could just confirm for me once more, sir. Mr. Crossell did indeed claim that the ore he...
Yes, that's right. I still have a record of the job with me,
Then I have no further questions. But could I borrow the processing record?
Of course.
Oh, I have my reasons. Yes. This document shall serve as signed proof that these stone shavings originated from the,
Yes, I see.
I wouldn't say there's been an incident, just a minor issue.
With this hard evidence to back us up,
On the contrary, this is far from sufficient to build a case. If you want to make jewelry, you need a professional jewelsmith. Let me think. Jewelry. Aha! Got it! Sinxie. She often helps people to find a jewelsmith. Let's go pay.
Well, that was quick. How come you know?
Because lots of people come to me for legal advice every day. As you know, Liyue Harbor is the city of contracts. But the amendments made by the Tianquan to our laws are unnecessarily complicated. As such, legal advisors like myself provide quite the popular service.
So you help them make sense of the law. But didn't you say that it's hard to...
Yes, well, that's no obstacle because I've memorized all.
You memorized?
You sound surprised. No, Inside Out is a legal advisor's bread and butter, you know? Oh, this has nothing to do with being an adeptus. I just like read.
Again, with that casual tone.
Well, that's that then. Let's go look for Sinxie.
Try your luck betting on Jade?
Jewelry's out of stock, but we have some new items in.
Where's Master gone this time? I can't wait to see my adorable daughter.
Jewelry's out of stock, but we have some new items in.
Oh, Miss Yanfei, it's you. Has something happened?
Have no further trouble from then on? Yes, of course. Has a merchant by the name of Crossel asked you to put him in contact with the...
Crossel. Yes, I remember him. He's a merchant from Snezh. The design of the hairpins that he gave me was quite intricate, so it took me some work to find someone who was up to the job. This order was on hold for a very long time, and only
Doesn't seem like there's any evidence to be found.
Miss Sinxie, I'd like for you to confirm for me once more. When Mr. Crossel commissioned you to find him a jewelsmith, did he or did he not assert that...
Yes, I'm sure of it. The hairpins were made using many expensive materials, and the asking price was quite high. Mr. Crossel wasn't very familiar with the necessary procedures. I also kept a copy for my own records. See for yourself. The item is called Smaragdus. The inlaid gemstone is recorded as Smaragdus jadeite. The document...
Thank you, Sinxie. Now, could...
Sure. It isn't serving much purpose here anyway. I take it then...
Nothing you need to worry about. Just a minor issue. I'll return your document.
Why is everyone's first reaction always to assume someone or something is in trouble?
I believe we have almost all the evidence we need. We just need to make one last trip. Let's go.
The weirdo with the snake around his neck?
Because only he can provide an authoritative statement confirming that Smaragdus... Once we have this final piece of evidence in our hands...
My, to what do I owe the pleasure? Though I'm afraid that if it isn't Miss Yanfei as well. Now that's an even rarer honor. What business?
No. I'm here this time to ask if you're familiar.
Smaragdus jadeite? Why, yes, there is some information about it included. The 7 Mountain Treatises states that this substance springs forth from stone marrow within them. It is abundant in elemental energy, so if someone without a vision is in contact with it for a prolonged period, best... Anyway, I'm sure you didn't come all this way just to chit-chat. No, I suppose that you're about to ask me to write an official affidavit attesting to...
That is indeed the case. If you...
No trouble at all. It's just a single document. Won't take me a moment. I would mention, though, that you are not the only one who's developed a... But after I gave him my reply, his expression shifted. I wonder, Miss Yanfei, if you're
you needn't concern yourself about that, Dr. Baizhu. Thank you for penning us that document.
You're too kind.
That Baizhu guy is as weird as ever. Is it just Paimon, or does it feel like he was fishing for something back there?
Dr. Baiju's always been like that. Well, we have the...
Miss Yanfei, have you finished your investigation? I trust you will now...
Yes, my investigation is indeed concluded. I can...
Wonderful. Well then, please, could you do the...
Of course. Mr. Crossell, you must pay Mr. Chow 10 times the original transaction.
Sure. Wait, what? Me pay her?
Not at all. According to my investigations and the material evidence that we've gathered, the substance claimed to be smaragdus jadeite that was inlaid within the... Now, the contract states very clearly that 10 times the price shall be paid should the article not be genuine. Accordingly...
Material evidence? What material evidence? Why, I spent a huge sum to obtain that smaragdus jadeite, and yet you claim that the ore inlaid on the hairpins is...
Indeed. Only a testimony from an expert witness involved in the processing of the ore can serve as an authoritative assessment of whether it is genuine. Traveler, please produce the evidence in question. This is a processing record from the Jade Mystery, along with stone samples and an affidavit signed by the business owner.
Seriously? Even the boss there couldn't differentiate between smaragdus jadeite and smaragdus... In any case, smaragdus nephrite is the outer layer of smaragdus jadeite. So I had him cut away the nephrite. He returned the valuable jadeite core to me.
That's an unsubstantiated belief.
Well, your claim that my ore is fake is just as unsubstantiated. And we are here to talk...
Ugh. Looks like our first piece of evidence didn't convince him at all.
Hard evidence, something legally binding. We have just the thing. Show him, Traveler.
This document proves that my hairpins are the real deal, doesn't it? This is the Ministry's seal, after all. It shows...
Our second piece of evidence didn't work either. And this guy's getting more...
You know, you could be right. Perhaps the hairpins...
Of course I'm right. All the evidence shown supports my story.
Well, hang on a moment now, because I do recall one final piece of evidence that we haven't... Traveler, would you do the honors? This shall serve as...
What's this?
Smaragdus jadeite springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains and will bring disaster to any mere sustained contact with smaragdus jadeite over a prolonged period will, in less serious cases, cause a mild Mr. Crossell, were you aware of these peculiar properties of...
I had no idea.
No idea, you say? I had guessed as much. I'm afraid that this falls outside the scope of my work, but within that of the However, I'm sure that the Ministry will be relatively lenient considering that... Don't worry, Mr. Crossell. I will make sure that all the evidence... I trust that you'll give them your full cooperation in their
What? Wait!
Oh, so you knew? Oh, dear, Mr. Crossell. But if you knew of...
Huh? No,
Aren't actually inlaid with genuine smaragdus jadeite? You do understand, Mr. Crossell, that this means that you will have to pay Mr. Crossell. Your answer, please.
He's seriously intimidating right now. It's like...
I admit it. I confess, the ore I hadn't laid up. But I'm a victim in all of this too. I invested a great deal of time and money into acquiring that, but after receiving it and carrying it around for a few days, I started to feel extreme discomfort. I went to Boo Boo Pharmacy to get myself checked out, only to discover that this sort of stone cannot be worn as... That's why I had another pair of hairpins made from smaragdus nephrite, which is almost indistinct. I kept the real smaragdus jadeite in a specially made box. I daren't touch it again. I was worried that someone would see through it, which is why I only dared to rent them out, not sell them. And then to top it all...
Exactly! If they weren't the real deal, why'd...
I didn't want to either, but when I purchased that smaragdus jadeite, some of my business partners found... If word got out that I sold a pair of...
All right, let's cut the appeals phase right there. I failed to see what bearing any of this has on your transaction with my client.
10 times.
Crosel looks like he could faint any second.
As for me, according to my contract with Mr. Chow, 20% of that sum will go...
20%? That's as much as I spent on...
There's no need. It's fine. You don't... Even if the smaragdus jadeite on those hairpins was fake, I still bear responsibility for losing them.
Ms. Chow.
However, Mr. Crosel, since you have no use for that chunk of smaragdus jadeite, why don't you give it to me instead?
What? But all right then.
Miss Yanfei, I'll turn the smaragdus jadeite over to you. I trust that it will...
Well, that's not quite how the rules say this should go.
Thanks so much for your help this time, Miss Yanfei. When you have the time, I'll be sure...
Oh, come on. No need to stand on ceremony. Now, if I may...
Well
then, that's good. Mr. Crosel, it seems that my client has no further...
Is that so?
Actually, Mr. Crosel, I'd like to talk... I could see from the hairpins you produce that you're very skilled in jewelry design. My family, on the other hand, works in the ore business. If we could join forces, your jewelry designs and our choice ores...
Let me think for a moment.
Well, that's that. And we've got the smaragdus jadeite that Granny wants too. All's well that ends well, eh?
Exactly. Usually when someone tells us they've lost something, we end up searching all over the... even though the solution did...
The right solution depends on your perspective on the The objective of my client, Mr. Chow, was to reduce her liability to pay compensation. So, rather than looking high and low for some hairpins, proving that an Adeptus... Speaking of, you took part in that battle, didn't you? Liyue Harbor is now a city ruled by humans. The title of Adeptus means precious little to me compared to my... In any case, don't you think that the Liyue Harbor of today needs
Paimon can think of someone who would definitely disagree with your reasoning.
Well, since we got what we came for, it's time to pay Granny a visit. I bet she's been on tenterhooks for...
You've returned. How did it go? Good. Then we have all...
Well, if we're all set, Granny, I'll get going now. Got a ton of clients waiting for me.
Oh, you. All right, then. Go see to your...
I'm off then. Bye! Oh, yes, Traveler. Make sure you don't lose the bit. I've been looking into the laws of other nations as well. If you should ever bump into any trouble with the law...
Come now, child. Are you leaving or are you not? If you have no...
I'm leaving! I'm leaving!
That child. Goodness knows where she learned to be so rambunctious. Her father was hardly so... Indeed she is. Yanfei might be overly garrulous, but she is also the most... Liyue is not the same. All right, then. Let us speak of this no more.
Oh, Paimon's so excited! How is it made?
It is but a single tea. There we go. Hold it firmly. If you were to drop it, oh, goodness. Take these blueprints with you as well. You'll need them if you wish to...
Wait a minute, Granny! How exactly are we supposed to...
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I've already arranged for a certain...
This is a